Chosen one, heaven has spoken your name. The noise of the world fades. The endless striving you've carried trembles to stillness. You have fought, endured, and waited. But now heaven whispers, enough, not in anger, but in mercy, not in defeat, but in victory. For there comes a moment in every divine story when the Almighty says, now let me take over. And that moment is now. You have been holding together things that were never yours to hold. You have been the warrior, the intercessor, the one who stood between collapse and creation. Yet God saw when your strength began to thin, when your prayers became whispers of exhaustion instead of fire. Still, you did not stop. Still, you kept walking through the midnight of faith. Listen, heaven did not overlook your tears. Every unseen moment, every battle no one knew you were fighting, was recorded in the courts of eternity. The angels stood in silence when you chose obedience over comfort. You carried crosses meant to crush others, and somehow, through divine mercy, you still stood. But now the Spirit says, put it down, because the next chapter is not about what you can do, it's about what heaven will do through your surrender. This is not the end of your usefulness, it is the beginning of your partnership. Heaven is not rejecting your effort, it's replacing it with power. You have entered the sacred pause, the divine stillness before resurrection. Every chosen vessel must walk through this moment, where heaven interrupts human striving. You may feel the unease of letting go, but release is not loss. It's the opening of your hands so God can fill them with something greater. This pause is not punishment, it is preservation. Heaven is protecting what you've built, guarding what you've prayed for. The soil of stillness is where divine roots grow deep. What seems like delay is actually designed, the hidden moment when your faith anchors beyond sight, where strength is reborn in silence. And in this holy stillness, heaven whispers strategy. You begin to sense new instructions taking shape, not through noise, but through clarity. The same God who silenced the storm now speaks peace into your spirit. This is where revelation replaces striving, and rest becomes the proof of divine favor. The voice of God thundered in the book of Isaiah, chapter 42, verse 31. Those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on eagle's wings, run and not grow weary, walk and not faint. Do you feel it? Chosen one, the weight is lifting, the air shifting, heaven leaning close. You are not being dismissed, you are being reappointed. God is saying, you have done enough, now watch me move. And when God moves, everything bends. What resisted you begins to bow. What was stuck begins to shift. What was barren begins to bloom again. This is your moment of divine transfer. You've reached the edge of human effort. Heaven steps in to complete what you began. Let this truth settle in your spirit. You were never called to carry the mission alone. The same God who called you is now fighting for you. Even now, angelic help is being released. While you sleep, heaven works. While you rest, battles are being won in the unseen. The enemy's whispers of, "You've failed," are drowned out by heaven's decree of, "It is finished." You are stepping into the grace of effortless victory, not because you earned it, but because you obeyed when it cost you everything. So, breathe. Let the tension go. You don't have to prove your worth to the one who chose you. Heaven does not need your perfection. It only asks for your permission to take over. Lift your hands and whisper it. Take over. Lord, the moment you release control, divine orchestration begins. Right now, the Spirit is saying, stop trying to rebuild what I'm trying to replace. You've been clinging to what worked in the last season, but the new season requires rest, not resistance. Let heaven redefine success. Let peace be your proof that God is near. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be, in the waiting room of miracles. The very stillness you fear is the soil where heaven plants new beginnings. Chosen one. If these words resonate in your spirit, pause and acknowledge this divine moment. Like, share, and subscribe, not as routine, but as a prophetic act of agreement. You are aligning with heaven's message. Comment below. 999, the number of divine completion. Let it be your declaration that your striving ends and His reign begins. You have done enough. Heaven has spoken. Now, watch what happens when God Himself takes over. Chosen one. You remember the wait, the long nights when silence roared louder than storms. The world saw your smile, but heaven saw the trembling behind it. Every burden you carried became an unspoken offering. You stood between collapse and faith, whispering prayers that no one else heard. Heaven remembers. Heaven never forgets. You thought it was weakness, but it was worship. Every tear that fell in the dark was counted. Every time you got back up, when your heart said, "Stay down," heaven took note. What you called ordinary endurance was actually divine endurance, proof that your spirit was forged in eternal fire. Do you realize how much you've carried? You've held the broken pieces of others, trying to mend hearts that were never yours to fix. You've stood strong for people who would never know the cost of your strength. You've faced betrayals that would have destroyed lesser souls. Yet, somehow, here you stand still, believing, still hoping, still loving. Heaven saw the nights you questioned your purpose. You thought God was silent, but silence was His strategy. He was shaping your roots in secret. The deeper the pain, the greater the foundation. Will you ask for deliverance? He was giving you depth. While you prayed for rescue, He was writing resilience into your bones. You have carried pain like a prophet carries fire, hidden but consuming. And now, heaven speaks over you. You have done well. You were not forgotten in your struggle. You were refined in it. Every time you chose grace over anger, love over revenge, patience over panic, the heavens applauded quietly. You became living evidence that faith is stronger than despair. According to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 5, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. That single line has been your unseen companion. It echoed when logic failed, when outcomes made no sense, when prayers seemed unanswered. You learned to trust without sight, to walk without maps, to believe without proof. That is the mark of the chosen, to keep trusting even when everything looks impossible. You see, heaven was never testing your strength. Heaven was revealing it. Trials don't come to expose your weakness. They come to uncover your divine identity. You were never meant to carry the world. You were meant to reveal the weight of glory within you. And glory always presses before it shines. The weight you carried was not punishment, it was preparation. The breaking was not rejection, it was refinement. You thought God was distant, but he was closer than your next breath. In the moments when you felt abandoned, he was whispering direction. When you cried, he was rewriting your path with mercy. Chosen one, hear this. Nothing you endured was wasted. The pain, the delay, the waiting, every bit of it became spiritual currency in heaven. You traded comfort for calling. You traded convenience for character. You traded moments of despair for eternal authority. And now, that authority rests upon you like light, quiet, but unshakable. You are walking proof that endurance produces transformation. The storms that were meant to drown you instead baptized you into purpose. The disappointments that tried to break you only deepened your discernment. What you learned in the valley will sustain you on the mountaintop. That's why heaven trusted you with the heavy things, because you would not run. Now, as you breathe in this moment, something begins to lift. Not the memory of what happened, but the heaviness of carrying it alone. Heaven is saying, you can set it down now. The same hands that held the universe are holding what once broke you. You don't have to fix, prove, or strive anymore. You just have to breathe, release, and trust. This is where the healing begins, not when everything changes, but when you stop fighting what God already finished. You are not weak for feeling weary. You are human. And heaven honors the ones who kept showing up even when their strength was gone. So rest. Chosen one, let your soul unclench. The battle you thought was about endurance was really about surrender. You carried the weight long enough. Now heaven carries you. Chosen one, heaven's timing is never accidental. There is a moment when divine intervention steps into the chaos of human striving. And that moment is now. You have carried, waited, prayed, and endured. But heaven is stepping into the very story you thought had ended. The same God who watched your struggle now moves his hand to shift everything in your favor. Do you feel it? That quiet stirring in your spirit, the awareness that something unseen has changed. The heaviness begins to loosen, and a peace you can't explain starts to fill the cracks. That's not imagination, that's heaven at work. You are no longer laboring alone. The unseen realm is active, rearranging circumstances, opening doors you never knew existed. There comes a point where faith transforms into partnership. Heaven doesn't just observe your journey, it joins it. You have prayed for miracles, but now the miracle maker himself stands beside you. Every delay, every detour, every disappointment, it all led here. You weren't being punished, you were being positioned. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah. Chapter 29, verse 11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Oh, you clung to that promise when nothing made sense. You whispered it through tears when your strength was fading. You didn't realize that while you were waiting for heaven, heaven was waiting for your surrender. The moment you released your plans, the divine ones began to unfold. Chosen one, divine intervention often begins subtly. It doesn't always come with thunder or lightning. Sometimes it enters like a breath, unseen but undeniable. You begin to notice coincidences that aren't coincidences at all, a message at the perfect moment, an unexpected opportunity, a sudden sense of peace in places that once felt suffocating. That's the fingerprint of heaven. You are not being rescued because you failed. You are being redirected because you're favored. The doors that closed were not rejection, they were protection. God was never denying you, He was preserving you. What you thought was a delay was divine defense. Every no you faced became a shield, guarding your destiny. Heaven's takeover doesn't require your striving, it requires your permission. When you stop forcing outcomes, heaven starts forming them. You don't need to manipulate what God has already ordained. The divine flow moves best through surrender. Now, heaven is realigning things you didn't even know were broken. Relationships that wounded you are being rewritten in peace. Finances that felt cursed are being placed under divine order. Health, identity, purpose, all being recalibrated by the hand of the Almighty. You are stepping into divine intervention, not as a spectator, but as a participant. The atmosphere around you is shifting. The spiritual realm has recognized your faith, and angels have been dispatched on your behalf. You've reached the point where heaven says, "Now I move." When heaven moves, no power can resist. Do not be surprised if old patterns suddenly fall away. That's not loss, it's liberation. God removes what limits His next move in your life. Don't chase after what He's finished with. Keep your eyes lifted, because the new thing is already here, not forming, but manifesting. There is a reason heaven waited. Your faith needed to mature beyond emotion. You've grown from asking God for things to trusting Him with timing. That's the mark of spiritual maturity, when you no longer demand proof, but walk in peace. You've come too far to turn back now. Every seed of obedience you planted in tears is about to bloom in joy. The drought is breaking. The heavens are opening. The delay is over. Chosen one, if your spirit feels this confirmation, then take a moment right now and declare it publicly, not for others to see, but as an act of agreement with heaven. Comment below, "Heaven moves now." Those 3 words are not just a phrase, they are a prophetic alignment. When you write them, you are marking this moment as the turning point of your story. You are saying, "I believe heaven has entered my situation. I believe divine power is now unfolding what my strength could never accomplish." End of. Every great transformation begins with agreement. So as you type those words, let your heart echo them. Feel the release, the shift, the surrender. Heaven has taken notice. The divine intervention has already begun quietly, powerfully, perfectly on time. You are not waiting for heaven to respond. Heaven is waiting for you to believe. Chosen one, this is the place where surrender becomes sacred. You have heard heaven whisper, "Let me take over." And now the question presses gently against your soul. Will you let go? It's not an easy command. To release control feels like stepping into the unknown. But what you don't yet see is that the unknown is holy ground. The hands of God wait there, ready to shape what you could not. You've spent years building, planning, fixing, believing that your effort could hold together what only divine power can sustain. And though your faith has carried you far, there comes a point when human strength meets its end. That point is not failure, it is invitation. The very place where your striving collapses is where heaven begins to construct the miraculous. Letting go does not mean giving up. It means recognizing the limits of your own might and the limitless reach of His grace. It's the same moment a seed experiences when it falls into the soil darkness, stillness, silence. Yet in that surrender, life begins. Heaven works best with what is released. You've held on because you feared that if you stopped, everything would crumble. But chosen one, the truth is this: you were never the one keeping it together. It was grace. It was unseen mercy wrapping around you when you thought it was your own resilience. And that mercy is still here, waiting for you to stop striving and simply breathe, as Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 11, verse 28, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Those words are not poetic comfort, they are divine instruction. Rest is not optional for the chosen, it is commanded. Because when you rest, heaven takes the lead. When you stop forcing outcomes, the Spirit starts forming breakthroughs. The quiet heart becomes a landing place for divine wisdom. Surrender feels like loss only to those who do not yet trust the one who catches what falls. You, however, have seen his faithfulness before. You know that he never wastes a sacrifice, never ignores a tear, never forgets an act of faith. What you hand over today, he transforms tomorrow. Think of Abraham, lifting his only son upon the altar, not understanding, yet obeying. Think of Moses, raising his staff before the sea. No guarantee, only trust. Every miracle begins with relinquishment. The pattern of heaven has never changed. Something must be placed into God's hands before it can multiply. So, what is heaven asking you to release now? Is it the plan you thought would define your future? The relationship that once felt like destiny but now drains your peace? The fear that if you stop controlling, you'll lose everything? Beloved, whatever you release, heaven redeems. You cannot move into the new while clinging to the old. The vessel must be emptied before it can be filled with fresh oil. The wine of the new season will not fit into the wineskin of yesterday's expectations. You must make room for the divine. Surrender is an act of power, not weakness. It takes strength to stop striving when the world glorifies endless hustle. It takes faith to trust unseen timing. It takes courage to believe that doing nothing can sometimes be the most spiritual action of all. You are not abandoning the mission, you are aligning with heaven's rhythm. When you surrender, the atmosphere shifts. Anxiety loses its grip. Confusion dissolves into clarity. What once felt heavy becomes light because the burden transfers to divine shoulders. And when God carries what you once carried, everything begins to flow with grace. There is beauty in this yielding. The Spirit begins to whisper again. Your discernment sharpens, and peace becomes the loudest voice in the room. You begin to see how every delay had purpose, how every detour shaped your faith, how every unanswered prayer redirected your heart towards something eternal. Heaven's pace is slower than human ambition, but far more precise. Every step, every pause, every silence was divine choreography preparing you for this rest. It's not a retreat, it's a repositioning. You are being recalibrated for the next level of glory, and as you surrender, you'll notice that what once terrified you now feels like release. The walls of resistance crumble. The fear of failure dissolves. You stop demanding answers and start dwelling in assurance. That is where miracles are born, not from striving, but from stillness. Chosen one. Your surrender is not the end of your story. It's the doorway to the next chapter. Heaven cannot fill what you refuse to release. So loosen your grip. Breathe deep and whisper it once more. Take over. Lord, For when you let go, heaven takes hold. And what God holds, He never lets fall. Chosen one. When surrender meets faith, something divine awakens. A holy exchange takes place. It is as if heaven breathes into your emptiness and fills it with living strength. The old weight fades, the tiredness dissolves, and a quiet fire begins to rise again inside you. You have reached the sacred threshold where God takes what is human and replaces it with what is heavenly. There is a hush over your life now, the kind that follows a storm. The air feels lighter, and though the battle is not gone, you sense that you are no longer the one fighting alone. What once depended on your effort now rests in His hands. This is not weakness. It is transformation, the exchange of your strength for His. Heaven always begins its miracles through exchange. You offer your burden, He returns peace. You give your fear, He restores courage. You surrender your plans, He hands you purpose. It's like trading ashes for diamonds. What you lose in control, you gain in clarity. The Apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, chapter 12, verse 9, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." Those words are not meant to humble you into silence. They are meant to lift you into divine partnership. God does not despise your weakness. He inhabits it. Your weakness is the doorway through which His glory enters. The moment you admit, "I can't do this," heaven whispers, "That's why I can." Imagine a weary traveler setting down a heavy backpack after miles of walking. The shoulders ache, the hands tremble. But when the weight finally drops to the ground, there is freedom in every breath. That's what happens when you let heaven carry what you were never built to bear. The strength that returns isn't from rest alone, it's from release. Your soul begins to stretch again, like wings remembering how to fly after being bound too long. The fire of purpose flickers back to life, not because you tried harder, but because you trusted deeper. Chosen one. This is how the divine exchange works. You lay down your striving, and God lifts up your destiny. It's not a trade of equal value. You always receive more than you release. Grace multiplies what surrender gives. You may not notice it at first. Divine strength rarely announces itself with noise. It comes quietly, a calm courage, a deeper peace, en inexplicable endurance. Suddenly, the things that once shook you no longer have the same power. You begin to walk through chaos with unbothered steps. Not because life is easier, but because you've finally learned who holds the battle. Even your perspective begins to change. You start seeing people through mercy, not pain. You stop arguing with circumstances and start discerning God's hand in them. You realize that what you thought was breaking you was really shaping you for greater use. Every crack in your heart became a doorway for light. The transformation is gentle but undeniable. Heaven doesn't just refill your strength, it refines it. You no longer run on adrenaline or fear. You move in rhythm with divine timing, steady, sure, unhurried. The world may call it stillness, but heaven calls it power. And this power isn't loud or flashy. It's the quiet assurance that when you step, heaven steps with you. When you speak, heaven backs your words. When you rest, heaven still works. That's what it means to be carried by grace. Chosen one. If this word is resonating deep within you, let it sink even deeper. You're not listening by accident. Heaven is confirming that this is your exchange season. And if your heart feels lighter, even as you read this, that's how you know heaven has already begun. Now, pause for a moment. Take a breath. Feel the atmosphere around you shift, the calm, the warmth, the sense that something greater is near. That's the Spirit moving through this very message. If this has stirred your spirit, I invite you not as a command, but as a gesture of unity to let this message travel beyond you. Like this, if it reminded you of your worth. Share it if you know someone carrying what you once carried. Subscribe if you wish to walk this journey of light, faith, and divine renewal together. Every small act of engagement becomes a ripple of grace, a way of saying, let more hearts hear this too. Because when one chosen one awakens, others are reminded of their calling. Your participation isn't just support, it's ministry. Every click, every share, every gesture of connection becomes a whisper that says, heaven still speaks. Oh, and heaven is speaking right now. Through the rhythm of your heartbeat and the peace rising in your chest, you are being refueled, rebuilt, restored. The exchange is complete. Your exhaustion for his energy, your confusion for his clarity, your pain for his presence. So walk lighter now. The world hasn't changed. You have. You are no longer walking in your own might. You are carried by the breath of the Almighty, sustained by His word, and strengthened by His grace. Chosen one. This is what happens when you stop trying to be your own savior and allow heaven to be your source. You soar again, not on borrowed energy, but on divine wind. Chosen one. After the exchange of strength comes the anointing of rest. Not the kind of rest that comes from sleep, but the kind that settles deep within the spirit, the divine stillness that says, it is safe to stop striving. Heaven has not only restored your strength, it has marked you for rest. This is where your soul exhales. Rest, for the chosen, is not an option, it is a mantle. It is an invisible cloak of peace placed upon you after the war. While the world glorifies exhaustion, heaven crowns stillness. You've proven your faith in the battle, now you must prove it in the calm. True warriors know that obedience is not only to fight when God says, go, but also to be still when He says, stop. End of teen. You may feel uneasy with rest at first. You've been trained to keep moving, to keep producing, to always do. But heaven is teaching you a new rhythm, a pace set by peace, not pressure. The same God who calls you to build also calls you to breathe. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 23, verse 2. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. Notice the phrase, He makes me lie down. Sometimes God has to interrupt your motion to preserve your mission. You weren't created to live in constant strain. You were created to flow in divine alignment. When heaven calls you to rest, it's not a delay, it's divine strategy. Rest is not passive, it's prophetic. In your stillness, heaven fights battles you'll never see. While you rest, angelic hands move on your behalf. Situations rearrange. Hearts soften. Opportunities form. Rest is the proof that you trust His sovereignty. To rest is to declare, I believe God is working even when I am not. Lynn, you have reached the part of your journey where striving no longer suits you. The old pattern of overthinking, overdoing, and overcarrying has expired. The new oil flowing over your life requires peace as its atmosphere. Anointing cannot rest on anxious hearts. It settles on surrendered ones. Imagine a garden after rain, the soil dark, soft, full of potential. That's what your spirit becomes in rest. Heaven waters the seeds of your obedience until they bloom in perfect time. What you tried to force in the last season will now grow naturally, effortlessly, beautifully. Chosen one, you are not lazy for slowing down. You are obedient. You are not losing ground. You are gaining grace. The peace that feels strange at first will soon feel sacred. And as it settles, you'll realize this was what your soul has been craving all along. The anointing of rest is not about inactivity, it's about divine rhythm. You'll still move, still speak, still do, but now every action flows from peace, not panits. Every step is guided, not rushed. Every decision is spirit-led, not fear-driven. This is divine maturity to operate from rest, not reaction. Heaven smiles on those who know when to pause, because in the pause, revelation grows. You'll begin to hear God more clearly in the quiet than you ever did in the noise. That still, small voice, once drowned by pressure, will now become unmistakable. Rest will teach you what striving could not. It will teach you to discern the difference between good opportunities and divine ones. It will show you that not everything urgent is important. It will remind you that the God who created galaxies can handle your tomorrow. Let this truth anchor you. Peace is not the absence of problems. It is the presence of divine order. Even if storms rise, you will not lose your calm. The same Jesus who slept through the storm now sleeps within you. That is your inheritance. You are not just surviving, you are sanctified in stillness. And when you begin to live from this rest, others will notice. Your calm will confuse the anxious. Your peace will preach louder than your words. People will ask how you remain steady when everything shakes, and you'll smile. Knowing the answer is simple. He took over. And chosen one. If you feel this deep resonance that God is calling you into a new rhythm of peace, respond in faith. Leave your mark below as a prophetic symbol of alignment. Comment 444. The number of divine order and angelic covering. Let heaven see your agreement that you choose peace over pressure, stillness over striving, alignment over anxiety. Every time you rest in obedience, heaven records it as faith. Every time you release control, God releases miracles. You have entered your Sabbath season, not a day of rest, but a lifestyle of divine balance. So breathe again. Chosen one. The war within has ended. Heaven has anointed your rest. Chosen one. While you rest, the unseen war continues, but not in your hands anymore. Heaven has taken your place on the front lines. Angels move like wind through the unseen, dismantling what once opposed you. There is movement you cannot see. Victories you will never need to fight for, because heaven has already claimed them in your name. You may not realize it, but your stillness is strategic. In the natural world, armies win through force, but in the kingdom, battles are won through surrender. The quietness you feel right now is not emptiness. It is the sound of heaven's armies marching. Every prayer you've ever whispered has become a command in the spiritual realm. The moment you let go, Heaven took over, and the fight shifted from your strength to his. The voice of God thundered in the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 14. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Now, this is not a metaphor, it is law. The moment you stopped struggling, the divine army mobilized. Angels do not respond to worry, they respond to faith. Heaven does not move when you panic, it moves when you rest. That is why peace is such a weapon. It disarms darkness faster than any shout of fear ever could. While you slept, heaven warred for you. While you questioned your worth, heaven defended your calling. Every attack that was meant to destroy you has already been intercepted by divine intervention. You thought your silence meant defeat, but it meant protection. God hides his chosen ones when the battle is fiercest. Look closely at your life, the things that fell away, the connections that ended, the doors that closed. Those weren't losses, they were strategic withdrawals. Heaven was pulling you out of crossfire. The battlefield you once tried to navigate in your own strength is now occupied by angelic forces. There's a reason you've been feeling lighter without knowing why. Heaven has been removing invisible chains. Old patterns of thought that once drained your energy are being dismantled. Generational weights are being broken in quiet places. What once haunted your mind now loses its grip. Because heaven's light exposes every shadow, the enemy always attacks the weary. But you are no longer unguarded. The Spirit surrounds you like flame and wind. You have divine coverage, not just for protection, but for purpose. Every arrow that once pierced your peace now ricochets off the shield of grace. You walk under a canopy of victory, and yet, this victory doesn't look like war, it looks like peace. It's a paradox only heaven understands. Stillness as strategy, rest as warfare. You win now by trusting, not by trying. The sound of your surrender is a command heaven cannot ignore. Think of Daniel in the lion's den, surrounded by threat, but untouched by harm. That's you. Danger may surround you, but it cannot reach you. God did not promise you a life without opposition, but he promised you a covering that cannot be breached. Every chosen one goes through this divine silence where heaven fights and you simply witness. It's humbling, isn't it, to realize you were never the warrior, only the weapon. You were never meant to fight alone. You were meant to stand as proof that victory belongs to God. You might never see the full extent of what was defeated on your behalf, but your peace will testify of it. The sudden calm, the release from anxiety, the clarity that follows confusion, these are the traces of battle won. Heaven doesn't always announce its victories with thunder. Sometimes it whispers them through rest. Chosen one. Do not mistake quietness for inactivity. The quiet season is when heaven builds walls around you that no enemy can cross. You are safer than you realize. You are more covered than you know. Every whisper of fear that still lingers is already being silenced by the sound of angelic authority. And as heaven fights, your role is to keep your posture heart open, spirit steady, eyes lifted, not in panic, but in praise. Worship is the language of trust. When you choose to worship while waiting, you tell the universe that you already believe the outcome is victory. This unseen battle will end without your interference. The victory is guaranteed, not by effort, but by covenant. You are under divine protection, not temporarily, but permanently. So, rest easy. Chosen one. Heaven's warriors are awake while you sleep. You are surrounded by the host of heaven, shielded in divine light, and carried by a peace that cannot be stolen. The unseen battle is already over. You didn't lose because you stopped fighting. You won because heaven started. Chosen one. While heaven fights for you in the unseen, another work begins, the work of preparation. You are being reshaped, not punished. The silence that surrounds you is not a void, it's a workshop. God does not waste quiet seasons. He uses them to build what must last. The noise of the past has faded. And now, in stillness, heaven begins its crafting. You have felt the pull of obscurity, haven't you? That sense of being hidden, unseen, misunderstood. Yet, that very concealment is sacred. Every chosen one must pass through a season of holy hiding, where recognition is stripped away and only identity remains. This is where God tests your roots not to harm you, but to anchor you before He elevates you. Heaven is not ignoring you. Heaven is refining you. The hidden places are where diamonds form, where oil is pressed, where strength is tempered. The soil of obscurity is the proving ground for greatness. Before every public victory, there is a private surrender. Before the crown, there is the cocoon. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Isaiah, chapter 64, verse 8, "Yet you, Lord, are our Father. We are the clay. You are the potter. We are all the work of your hand." Now, this truth defines your current season. You are the clay in divine hands. The potter presses, reshapes, smooths, and sometimes breaks apart what was once complete, not to destroy, but to rebuild better. You cannot become the vessel heaven intends if you resist the shaping. Every press is purpose. Every delay is design. You've asked, why the stillness? Why the waiting? Because growth in the kingdom rarely looks like movement. Sometimes, progress is silence, and change is happening in the soil, like a seed beneath the earth. You are expanding where no one can see. The darkness around you is not punishment, it's protection. God covers what He cultivates. In this hiddenness, heaven tests your heart. Will you still believe when applause fades? Will you still worship when the crowd disappears? The hidden season removes all false anchors, leaving only truth. It's in these unseen hours that you learn faith not for reward, but for relationship. You stop seeking God's hand and start seeking His face. Chosen one. Obscurity is not the enemy of destiny, it is the birthplace of it. Every hero of faith walked through it. Moses found his voice in the desert. David found his anointing in the field. Esther found her courage in silence before the throne. Every miracle was prepared in a place no one was watching. You are not being forgotten, you are being formed. The world may see stillness as stagnation, but heaven calls it strategy. You are being fortified for longevity. A tree that grows fast falls fast, but one that grows deep withstands every storm. Heaven is building your depth before it builds your visibility. The foundation must be strong enough to carry the weight of future glory. Do not rush this process. Hidden seasons are holy ground. Here, God teaches you the rhythm of humility, the discipline of peace, the strength of patience. Here, you learn to recognize His whisper. The same voice that seemed distant before now becomes familiar, personal, undeniable. You will begin to sense divine strategy emerging from silence. Clarity will rise like dawn, slowly at first, then suddenly bright. You'll understand why certain doors closed, why certain relationships faded, why certain plans fell apart. They were not rejections, they were redirections. Heaven was sculpting space for what is next. Chosen one. The hidden season may feel lonely, but it is also intimate. This is where you meet God without distraction. It's where revelation is birthed, not through noise, but through nearness. You are not losing influence, you are gaining anointing. Heaven is strengthening what eyes cannot yet see, and when the time comes, the same hand that hid you will reveal you. When heaven decides the vessel is ready, exposure will not break you, it will bless you. The foundation being laid now will sustain the weight of your future calling, so do not despise the quiet. Welcome it. Let it mold you. The silence you endure today is the sound of your becoming. Every moment spent unseen is a moment heaven is adding depth to your destiny. Trust the potter. Stay soft in his hands. Yield to the shaping, because soon he will lift you from the wheel, refined, radiant, ready for his purpose. Chosen one. You are not forgotten, you are being fashioned. Chosen one. Heaven has watched your hiddenness, and now a divine shift begins. The time of silence is ending. The season of recognition dawns. What was cultivated in secret will soon be seen in light. You are emerging not as who you were, but as who heaven intended all along. The refining is complete, the waiting fulfilled. Heaven is calling your name forward. There is a sacred moment when God takes the one the world overlooked and sets them in places of influence. That moment is approaching. You've been invisible long enough, not because you were forgotten, but because you were being preserved. Heaven hides its treasures until the right time, and now, the right time has come. The ancient words recorded in Romans, chapter 8, verse 18, declare, "The sufferings of this time are not worth comparing with the glory to be revealed in us." That is what's happening now, the revealing. The pain of your past has become the platform of your purpose. The rejection that once humiliated you has been transformed into revelation that will elevate you. Everything you endured is about to testify for you. You may not even recognize yourself at first. The strength, the clarity, the calm, it feels unfamiliar because it's the new you, born from divine fire. Heaven is about to unveil what it has been shaping behind the veil of your trials. And when it does, it won't just be a promotion, it will be a prophetic fulfillment. The unveiling will not come through noise or striving, it will come through favor. Doors will open without knocking. Opportunities will arise without explanation. And people who once doubted you will have no choice but to acknowledge the hand of God upon your life. You won't need to defend yourself. Heaven will do that. You won't need to prove your worth. Your fruit will. Chosen one. This is not recognition for recognition's sake. It's divine confirmation. Heaven is affirming what you've already become in secret. The applause of men will never compare to the validation of heaven. You are not being elevated to be seen. You are being elevated to be heard, to carry light into dark places. Every chosen one must eventually stand before those who once questioned their calling. But this time, you won't speak from pain, you'll speak from power. What broke you before has become your testimony. What hurt you has become your weapon. You'll stand before them clothed in humility, radiating peace, knowing you have nothing to prove because heaven already proved it for you. Even now, heaven is preparing hearts to receive your voice. The same people who overlooked your worth will soon seek your wisdom. The same spaces that rejected you will open as platforms for your anointing. This is the season where heaven's validation replaces human approval. Chosen one. Your emergence will not be sudden chaos, it will be divine order. Just as dawn never rushes the sun, your revelation will rise slowly, beautifully, undeniably, and when it does, nothing and no one can dim it. The oil of endurance has made your light unquenchable. Do not fear this new visibility. You are ready. Heaven would not reveal what is not prepared. Your spirit has been tested in obscurity so that glory will not corrupt you in the open. You will carry influence, not for vanity, but for impact. Every word you speak will carry weight because it was forged in waiting. Now is the time to walk differently, not faster, but firmer. You move with authority now, not insecurity. You don't chase validation. You carry it. The same voice that once cried in the wilderness now echoes with divine resonance. You've been entrusted with visibility, but your humility will be your crown. If this message strikes something deep within you, if you feel heaven confirming that your revealing season has come, declare it aloud as an act of agreement. Comment, I rise now. These 3 words are not simple speech, they are prophecy. When you write them, you're declaring to the atmosphere that the season of hiding is over. You're telling heaven, I accept the calling. I step into the light prepared for me. And every time you affirm that truth, something shifts, not just around you, but within you. This is your moment of emergence. You are rising from obscurity into purpose, from silence into song, from being overlooked to being appointed. Heaven's spotlight is gentle, not harsh. It reveals what has been refined, not what is unfinished. So rise, chosen one. The world will finally see what heaven has always known. You were never ordinary. You were hidden for a holy reason. And now, heaven releases you into destiny. Chosen one. You stand now in the quiet before the new command. The air feels charged, like the world is waiting for your next step. Heaven has fought for you, refined you, and revealed you. And now, it gives you direction. The next season will not look like the last. The battles of endurance are giving way to the march of purpose. You are not just surviving anymore. You are being commissioned. This is the moment where heaven places the scroll in your hands, your new marching orders. It does not come as thunder or flame, but as a whisper that wraps itself around your spirit. Move when I move. You are no longer called to react. You are called to align. The old rhythm of striving has ended. The steps you take now are divine choreography. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in Deuteronomy, chapter 31, verse 8. The Lord goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you, nor forsake you. Do not be afraid or discouraged. There is a difference between running and being sent. You ran before, but now you are sent. And when heaven sends, every step carries authority. This is not about speed, it's about precision. You'll no longer need to chase open doors. Doors will sense your arrival and unlock themselves. But remember this, marching orders are never only about movement, they are about alignment. Sometimes, heaven will tell you to go. Other times, to wait. Both are obedience. Both are progress. The discipline of stillness you learned in the last season is now your greatest weapon in this one. Chosen one. Your next steps will require faith in ways you've never known. Heaven is expanding your territory. There will be assignments that stretch your courage, responsibilities that test your humility, and opportunities that demand deeper trust. But remember, you are not being sent alone. The same power that lifted you from despair will now propel you into destiny. Think of your journey like a river. The current no longer drags you, it carries you. The rapids of confusion are gone. And now, the flow of clarity begins. You don't have to paddle wildly anymore. You simply need to steer by the Spirit's nudging. Every bend, every turn, every resting pool, all part of the divine design to carry you exactly where you're meant to go. And as you walk this new path, something else begins to happen. People begin to notice the glow. Your peace becomes influence. Your calm becomes guidance for others. Without preaching a word, your life begins to prophesy. God truly restores. Your obedience will become a map for those still wandering. The way you walk through unknowns will awaken faith in those watching silently. And that's why your next step matters, not just for you, but for everyone your life will touch. You are not moving for recognition, you are moving for revelation. Chosen one. If this message finds you at that crossroad, knowing you can't go back, but unsure how to move forward, let this be your sign. You are ready. The hesitation you feel is not fear, it's reverence. You understand the weight of what's being entrusted to you, and heaven honors that. If these words resonate with you, if you sense that divine nudge in your chest, then take a simple yet sacred act, like this message, so that it reaches others who are waiting for their own confirmation. Share it as a ripple of encouragement. Your light might awaken another's calling. And subscribe, not out of habit, but as a declaration. I will walk this journey with heaven, leading M2. Your engagement is not just a gesture, it's agreement. Each click becomes an echo in the spiritual realm, a way of saying, I hear you, Lord, and I will obey. You never know whose midnight this message will reach because you chose to amplify it. Heaven doesn't just speak to one, it speaks through one. You are now both messenger and message, the living proof that surrender births purpose and obedience releases miracles. So, take this next step. Let your faith move your feet. The path is unfolding even as you walk it. You are not walking into uncertainty, you are walking into divine alignment. Chosen one. Lift your eyes, the horizon is glowing. It's time to march forward with heaven's wind at your back and peace guiding your steps. Chosen one. As heaven's orders unfold, there comes a shift not only in your path, but also in the response of the world around you. Those who once misunderstood you will begin to sense the hand of God resting on your life. But this season of unveiling also stirs something in the unseen confusion among those who once opposed you. For when heaven moves in favor of one, every force aligned against them begins to crumble in disorder. You may not see the full extent of it, but even now, the plans formed in darkness are unraveling. The traps laid in secrecy are turning against their makers. The whispers meant to destroy your name are becoming testimonies that exalt it. This is not vengeance by your hand, but by divine justice. Heaven has declared that enough is enough. The Word of God declares in the book of Psalms, chapter 37, Verse 13, "But the Lord laughs at the wicked, for he knows their day is coming." Oh, that laughter is not mockery, it is mastery. It is the sound of divine authority that reminds every enemy, visible and invisible, that no plan can outmaneuver heaven. Every attack meant to break you was only building evidence for your vindication. Every betrayal was secretly constructing a platform for your revealing. The same mouths that cursed you will one day testify of God's favor upon you. Chosen one. The confusion of your enemies is not your concern, it's your confirmation. Heaven never leaves the righteous unguarded. When you walk in divine order, anything that moves against you begins to collapse under the weight of divine opposition. Those who tried to harm you now find themselves face to face with the consequences of touching what heaven anointed. The strange quiet you've been feeling lately, that's the aftermath of victory. Heaven has silenced voices that once spoke against you. The rumors, the schemes, the manipulations, they've been disarmed. You no longer have to defend your name. God has already written your vindication in the Spirit. But here is where wisdom must guide you. Do not rejoice in their downfall. Rejoice in your deliverance. This season is not about proving others wrong, it's about proving God right. You were never called to fight flesh and blood. Your battle was always spiritual. And heaven has already declared the verdict in your favor. The same people who once laughed will now learn reverence. But you, chosen one, must respond with grace. Your assignment is not to expose your enemies. It's to demonstrate that peace cannot be stolen from the one covered by heaven. Remember, Joseph betrayed by his brothers, forgotten in a pit, falsely accused, yet eventually seated in power. When he stood before those who wronged him, he did not speak revenge, he spoke redemption. That is the posture of the chosen, to recognize that even evil was woven into destiny's design. God allowed the misunderstanding so that your vindication would become undeniable. He allowed the opposition so that the testimony would carry weight. Had they not rejected you, you would never have discovered who you truly are in Him. The enemy's greatest mistake was underestimating how far grace can carry a surrendered soul. Do not let bitterness stain your blessing. Forgive quickly. Release deeply. The moment you release what hurt you, heaven multiplies what heals you. Your heart must remain light, for you are entering a new level of authority. And authority cannot rest upon hearts still bound by resentment. This confusion among your enemies is not chaos, it's alignment. Everything out of order in your life is now being corrected by divine justice. Every imbalance is finding its equilibrium. Even situations that once seemed unfair will now make sense, not because they changed, but because you have. Heaven did not just fight for you, it elevated your perspective. Chosen one. From this point forward, your focus must remain on purpose, not people. Those who tried to block your destiny have already lost their influence. The tables have turned not through revenge, but through revelation. What once opposed you now works for you. What once mocked you now magnifies you. You are walking in the paradox of grace, surrounded by what was meant to harm you, yet completely untouchable. The confusion of your enemies is not destruction, it's divine redirection. They are being forced to witness what faith can do when it refuses to bend. Stand tall in quiet triumph. Do not explain yourself, live your proof. Every sunrise now testifies that God's favor has the final word. You have nothing to fear and nothing to prove. The same heaven that fought your battle now prepares your table. Chosen one. Your vindication is complete. The laughter of heaven echoes over your life, not mockery, but victory. You have been defended, delivered, and distinguished, chosen one. Every story written by heaven carries a moment called the turnaround. It is that sacred instant when everything that once pressed against you begins to work in your favor. The tide shifts, the pressure lifts, and what was once your valley becomes your launching ground. Heaven calls this the prophetic reversal, where loss turns into leverage, and what was meant for harm becomes the foundation for glory. You may not have seen it yet, but it's already begun. The unseen gears of destiny have started to move in your favor. The very circumstances that looked like endings are now being rewritten as openings. The people who left you made room for alignment. The closed doors cleared your path for divine opportunity. Heaven is not repairing the old. It is rebuilding something entirely new, as was spoken in the sacred texts of old. Genesis, chapter 50, verse 20. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. Oh, this is the heartbeat of divine reversal. What once crushed you will now crown you. What once shamed you will soon shine through you. You are walking through the doorway of redemption, where heaven's justice does not merely restore, it multiplies. The shift happens quietly. You won't always feel it at first, but the signs are unmistakable. What used to drain you now strengthens you. What once confused you now becomes clear. What once broke you now builds others through your testimony. Heaven wastes nothing, not the heartbreak, not the rejection, not the delay. Everything has been recycled into destiny. This is not optimism, it's prophecy fulfilled. Every moment of despair became a seed, and those seeds are now blooming into blessings. Heaven is not giving you back what you lost, it's giving you better. Restoration is never duplication, it's transformation. You are not being returned to where you were, you are being elevated to where you belong. Chosen one. This turnaround is more than favor. It's divine justice in motion. Every tear you shed has become a line in heaven's decree of recompense. The years you thought were wasted are being redeemed in acceleration. What took others a decade will come to you in a moment, because heaven is balancing the scales. You are about to see promises unfold that you stopped praying for, not because you lost faith, but because you matured enough to receive them without needing proof. That's what turnaround seasons do. They reward silent faith, hidden perseverance, qui est endurance. Heaven never forgets the faithful. This reversal will not only affect you, it will ripple through generations. Patterns that bound your family line are being broken through your obedience. Blessings that skipped generations are now resting on you. You have become the bridge between what was and what will be. Your yes to God has shifted bloodlines. Chosen one. This is why your trials were so severe. They were generational. The weight you carried was never just yours. It was centuries of resistance collapsing under one obedient soul. And now, the breakthrough you're stepping into is not just personal, it's prophetic. You are walking out what your ancestors prayed for, but never saw. So do not take this moment lightly. Heaven has positioned you in the divine intersection between old pain and new promise. The ground beneath you is holy. The same soil that once bore your tears will soon bear fruit that nourishes others. Everything you touch in this season will carry divine fingerprints. Projects will accelerate. Opportunities will multiply. and even delays will turn into protection. What once resisted you will begin to recognize you, because the authority of heaven now rests on your voice. You no longer chase alignment. Alignment finds you. And now, chosen one, if your spirit bears witness to this, if you feel that undeniable sense that heaven is reversing what once opposed, you declare it. Comment 7,777 below. This number is not random. It represents the fullness of divine completion multiplied, the sign that what began in struggle will end in perfection. When you write it, you are not engaging in superstition. You are participating in prophecy. You are saying, Heaven, I agree with the reversal. You are writing in my life. Every act of agreement echoes in eternity. Heaven moves where faith responds. This is your turnaround. The same hand that allowed the pain is now painting the masterpiece. The same stage that once held your defeat will now showcase your deliverance. You are standing in the afterglow of endurance, the moment where heaven turns mourning into momentum. Chosen one, this is not the end of your story. This is the part heaven has been waiting to write. Chosen one, the turnaround has not only lifted you, it has crowned you. Heaven has placed upon your spirit a new mantle, one woven from every battle you've endured, every lesson you've learned, and every moment you refuse to give up. This mantle is not ornamental, it is functional. It carries authority, spiritual weight, and divine recognition in realms both seen and unseen. You may not feel different, but heaven knows who you have become. What once felt like weakness has become strength refined in the furnace of testing. You are no longer the same vessel that entered the storm. You are the vessel that emerged carrying new oil. Every trial has pressed you, not to destroy you, but to extract what was hidden inside you. It was proclaimed in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 1, verse 7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind. This is the description of your new mantle: power, love, and divine clarity. You have been recrowned in the Spirit. The authority you now carry is not about control, it's about stewardship. Heaven entrusts influence only to those who have been proven faithful in obscurity. You were faithful in waiting, in warfare, in weeping, and now heaven trusts you with weight. When God crowns, He does not place gold upon your head, He places purpose upon your shoulders. The crown is invisible, but its gravity is felt. It changes how you move, how you think, how you speak. You are no longer permitted to act as if you are powerless. You are a carrier of divine authority, not to dominate, but to illuminate. Every chosen one receives a moment of recognition in the unseen when heaven announces your promotion in the spiritual realm before the world ever sees it. That moment has already happened. The evidence will soon follow. People will begin to respond to you differently, not because of who you are, but because of what you now carry. The light resting on you commands attention. Darkness recognizes when authority enters the room. This mantle will draw responsibility as well as revelation. It will call you higher in speech, deeper in discernment, and gentler in response. Heaven is trusting you not just with blessing, but with representation. You are now an ambassador of grace, a walking testament that endurance produces glory. Do not mistake this new authority for superiority. The crown does not make you better than others. It simply means you've been chosen to serve differently. True leadership in the kingdom is not elevation over people, but transformation through love. You will find that your words carry more weight when they are spoken from compassion, not pride. The mantle of authority also carries the power to heal. Your presence will bring peace where others feel chaos. Your words will unlock hope where despair has settled. You may not even realize it, but people will sense the Spirit's movement through you. It will not be you they are drawn to. It will be the Christ within you. Chosen one. Heaven is entrusting you with influence because you proved you could handle isolation. It's giving you reach because you remained righteous when no one was watching. What you carry now can open atmospheres, your prayers, your decrees, your worship. When you speak, heaven listens. When you move, angelic forces align. That is the magnitude of the mantle. But the greater the crown, the deeper the humility it requires. The weight you carry is holy. It cannot be held by pride. Stay low so heaven can keep lifting you. Serve quietly so the crown never becomes an idol. Remember, the purpose of glory is not attention, it's transformation. This mantle is not just for your generation, it's for the ones that follow. The oil that flows from you will mark others. You are a carrier of continuity, a living bridge between heaven's promise and earth's need. You are called to move with wisdom, to release with discernment, to speak only when guided by the Spirit. Every challenge ahead will test the strength of your crown, but not its permanence. Heaven never recalls what it crowns. It simply purifies the one who wears it. The same fire that once tested you will now preserve you. The mantle that once felt too heavy will soon feel like second nature because it was always meant for you. Chosen one. Walk with quiet confidence. You no longer need to announce who you are. The atmosphere will know. The authority resting on your life is not loud, it's luminous. It doesn't demand attention, it commands reverence. You have been recrowned. What was taken from you in tears has returned multiplied in glory. Wear it with grace. Carry it with humility. And move forward, knowing heaven trusts you completely. Chosen one. When the mantle settles upon you, something awakens deep within, not a loud power, but a quiet current of strength that hums through your spirit. It is the awakening of divine power, not born from striving, but from union with heaven itself. This is not the strength that exhausts you, it is the strength that sustains you. You have entered the phase where your spirit begins to move in rhythm with divine will. It begins subtly. You sense a new level of discernment, a deeper knowing that cannot be explained. You walk into a room and feel the atmosphere shift. You speak, and hearts begin to soften. It's not charisma or effort. It's the Spirit within you stirring the unseen. You've become a conduit, a carrier of divine current, a vessel charged with eternal fire. The Apostle reminds us in his letter to the Ephesians, chapter 3, verse 20, "Now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to his power that is at work within us." That power, the power at work within you, is what heaven has been shaping all along. It was never about giving you influence without intimacy. It was about forming such closeness with God that his power could safely flow through you without distortion. The awakening of power always follows the deepening of humility. You will start noticing divine synchronicities, not coincidences, but confirmations, thoughts that align with God's whisper, moments when you speak what heaven intended without rehearsing it. The power moving through you is not a force to control, but a presence to carry. It flows best when you stop trying to perform and simply become a vessel. Chosen one. Heaven's power doesn't manifest in spectacle, it manifests in subtlety. It's in the peace that calms storms, in the courage that defies fear, in the words that heal without fanfare. You've been trained to recognize strength in noise, but divine strength often walks in silence. It's what makes you steady when others waver, gentle when others harden, unshakable when others retreat. This awakening will also bring greater spiritual sensitivity. You'll perceive motives more clearly, discern truth more quickly, and feel heaven's guidance even in small decisions. But with this sensitivity comes responsibility, the power to respond, not react. The Spirit will teach you when to speak and when to stay silent, when to act and when to wait. Power without patience can become destruction, but power guided by peace becomes deliverance. Do not fear this new awareness. It's not meant to burden you, but to free you. You are not being made into someone else. You are being revealed as who you always were in eternity. The power is not foreign, it's familiar. It's the same breath that once called light out of darkness, now moving through your life. Every miracle begins with this realization that God does not simply work for you, He works through you. The awakening of power is heaven's way of reminding you that you were never separate from divine design. The light you carry is not borrowed, it's inherited. You are made in the image of power itself. There will be moments when this energy feels overwhelming, when you sense the spiritual weight of people, places, or pain around you. Don't retreat. You were anointed for impact, not avoidance. The light within you was designed to displace darkness. The same Spirit that raised Christ from the dead lives in you. And where that Spirit resides, nothing broken can remain untouched. Still, remember, power flows through purity. Protect your peace like sacred flame. Guard your heart, for it is the temple through which heaven's current passes. Keep your motives clean, your words true, your humility anchored. The more surrendered you remain, the greater the current that flows. Chosen one. This power will not only sustain you, it will transform others. People will find comfort in your presence, healing in your words, clarity in your counsel. You won't have to force it. It will simply be the same way sunlight warms without effort. You will radiate without striving. This is what heaven always intended. Not that you would merely survive, but that you would become a living extension of divine presence on earth, a light bearer, a vessel of restoration, a carrier of holy power. The awakening of power within you is heaven's answer to the cries of those around you. Every time you show up in obedience, light enters the atmosphere. Every time you forgive instead of retaliate, heaven expands through you. Every time you speak life, eternity echoes in your tone. Chosen one. Do not shrink from this power. Honor it. Walk with reverence, but also with confidence. You were chosen not because you were perfect, but because you were willing. And now, heaven's current flows freely through your surrendered soul. You are not merely anointed, you are awakened. The fire burns quietly now, but its reach is endless. Heaven trusts you with its flame, and through you, the world will feel its warmth. Chosen one. Power alone is not the end of your journey. It's the beginning of legacy. The strength within you was never meant to remain contained. Heaven doesn't pour into vessels that hoard. It pours into rivers that flow. You have become that river, now carrying wisdom, revelation, and healing that will outlive you. What you've received in tears, you must now release in truth. The voice of legacy rises inside you like dawn after a long night. It's gentle but firm, whispering, "Tell what you've seen." Because testimony is not just memory, it's ministry. When you speak, chains break in places you'll never see. When you share what heaven has done, you build bridges for those still lost in the dark. As the prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 2, "Write the vision, make it plain on tablets, so that he may run who reads it." This is your divine assignment: to speak, to write, to share the story. Heaven wrote through your pain and perseverance. What you survived becomes a manual for someone else's survival. What once felt like suffering now becomes scripture written on your soul. Legacy isn't about fame or followers, it's about fruit. It's not how loudly your name echoes, but how deeply your obedience impacts lives. Your calling is not just to shine, it's to spark, to ignite faith in others, to awaken the chosen who've forgotten their identity, to remind weary hearts that grace still flows. You have lived the words others are only now beginning to understand. Your scars are not shame, they're signatures of divine authorship. The cracks in your story let heaven's light shine through. And as you open your mouth to tell what God has done, others will feel the same. Presence that carried you through the fire. Chosen one. You are no longer walking only for yourself. Every word you speak becomes a seed. Some will land on dry ground, some in fertile soil, but all will carry eternity within them. Heaven doesn't measure your success by applause, it measures by obedience. Speak even when it feels small. Share even when it feels unseen. Every echo of truth travels farther than you can imagine. Think of yourself as a lighthouse on a dark coast. You don't chase the ships, you stand and shine. Some will see your light and find safety. Others may ignore it and crash against their own choices. But still, you shine, because that's what you were built for. And yet, even lighthouses need maintenance moments of stillness where the keeper trims the flame and cleans the glass. That's why reflection matters. Look back not to dwell, but to understand the glory of the journey. Every storm, every quiet hour, every answered prayer was shaping you. For this, the moment your voice becomes legacy. If these words reach your heart like a quiet confirmation, if you feel that nudge to become a voice of faith for others, then do something simple yet powerful. Like this message, not as a habit, but as an act of gratitude. Share it not for numbers, but to send light farther than your reach. And subscribe, not as routine, but as a way of saying, I choose to keep walking with heaven. And you never know who is standing where you once stood, tired, doubting, ready to quit, waiting for someone to say, "You're not forgotten." Maybe this message becomes that lifeline because you chose to pass it on. And when you comment below, write the phrase, "I carry legacy," not for attention, but as a declaration. You are acknowledging that your story is no longer your own. You are saying, I choose to be the voice that reminds others of hope. Every comment becomes a ripple, every word an echo, every act of faith another torch lit in the darkness. The kingdom advances not through noise, but through testimony. The power of your story is the key that unlocks prisons you've never seen. Each word you release in love becomes a key of freedom. Chosen one. Heaven has written you into its story not as a side character, but as a living letter of grace. You are a verse in the great poem of redemption, a note in heaven's song of restoration. So, speak, shine, share. Let your life become proof that even after the storm, light still rises. Let others see that being chosen doesn't mean being perfect. It means being willing to stand again when grace calls your name. This is your voice of legacy, not loud, but lasting. The echo of a surrendered soul saying, "He took over, and I am still standing." In Chosen One. Legacy is not measured in words alone, but in the quiet ripple of obedience. The kingdom expands not through applause, but through alignment, through one surrendered life at a time. And now, heaven broadens your horizon. You have carried personal victory. Now, you are called into kingdom expansion. This is where your story becomes movement. Your faith becomes foundation, and your obedience multiplies into generations of transformation. The kingdom does not grow by force, but by flow. You are part of that divine current, one drop in an ocean of purpose that keeps widening with every act of faith. Your yes has already opened doors for others. The seeds you've sown in silence are now taking root in places you may never step foot in. That's how the kingdom works, quietly, faithfully, relentlessly. We find in the book of Acts, chapter 1, verse 8, "You will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes upon you, and you will be my witnesses to the ends of the earth." That commission still echoes today, and you are part of its fulfillment. The Spirit that once strengthened your heart in the valley now sends you into the world as a living witness. You are not called to conquer lands, but to cultivate hearts, to expand the territory of heaven's love through compassion, truth, and unshakable peace. This expansion doesn't always look grand. Sometimes, it's the quiet kindness you offer to someone on the edge of despair. Sometimes, it's the strength you lend without needing thanks. Sometimes, it's the forgiveness that heals generations. The kingdom moves in whispers before it moves in waves. You may wonder how something so small could carry eternal weight, but heaven's arithmetic is different. The mustard seed of faith you plant in one heart can become a forest of redemption. The single word of encouragement you release can echo into destinies. That's why heaven calls you not just a survivor, but a multiplier. The expansion you are stepping into is not about territory, it's about transformation. Heaven is enlarging your influence, not for ego, but for impact. You'll find yourself drawn to places you once avoided, people you never expected to reach, opportunities that stretch your comfort zone. That's not coincidence, that's calling. Heaven is extending your reach because it can now trust your heart. You have been refined for responsibility. Your humility has made room for heaven's greatness. The fire you walked through burned away everything false so that what remains could carry more glory. Now, your presence shifts atmospheres not through noise, but through nearness to God. Chosen one. The expansion also brings balance. Heaven will teach you to stretch without snapping, to grow without grasping. You will learn that true growth requires rhythm, moments of release, followed by moments of rest. The same God who calls you outward still calls you inward. You will touch lives, but you will also return, often to the secret place to be refilled. The kingdom's reach through you will not depend on your platform but on your purity. You may never stand on a stage, but your prayers can shake nations. You may never travel far, but your intercession can cross oceans. The expansion of the kingdom is not about distance, it's about depth. Heaven multiplies what it finds faithful, and faithfulness has always been your strength. You stood when others bowed. You listened when others turned away. You followed even when the path was unclear. Now, heaven entrusts you with more because you did not quit when it was small. The work ahead will look different. More people, more pressure, more presence, but also more grace. Heaven never calls without providing. The same Spirit that sustained you in solitude will sustain you in service. You will speak with more authority, love with more patience, lead with more wisdom. And though your name may never fill headlines, your impact will fill hearts. Heaven doesn't celebrate fame, it crowns faith. The quiet ones who labor in love are the builders of eternity, chosen one. As you move forward into this expansion, remember this truth: you are not building your kingdom, you are carrying His. Every action, every word, every step of obedience widens heaven's reach. You are part of something larger than your lifetime, a divine ripple that continues long after your footsteps fade. So, move gently, but move boldly. The same God who began this work in you will complete it. You are not just chosen to endure, you are chosen to expand. The light that sustained you will now spread through you from heart to heart, life to life, until the earth reflects heaven once more. Chosen one, the kingdom is growing, and you are its living branch, rooted in grace, reaching toward eternity. Chosen one. All heaven has been moving toward this moment, the point where surrender, struggle, revelation, and power converge into stillness again. But this stillness is not the silence of uncertainty, it is the calm of completion. What began as chaos has been written into order. What started as pain has become purpose. Heaven has spoken, and its final word resounds through every corner of your being. It is done. The long journey has come full circle. Every unanswered question now finds quiet, meaning the steps you once took blindly have formed a pattern, a mosaic only visible from above. Each trial, each tear, each waiting hour was a thread in a masterpiece you could not yet see. Now, heaven allows you to glimpse it, and it glows with the light of divine design. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of John, chapter 19, verse 30, "It is finished." Those three words hold the weight of eternity. They do not mean exhaustion, they mean fulfillment. They do not speak of ending, but of accomplishment. Heaven has taken over completely. What you once tried to manage in your own strength is now governed by grace. You are no longer the one striving to prove, to build, to fix. You are the one carried, covered, and commissioned. Look around. Chosen one. The landscape of your spirit has changed. The wilderness has bloomed. Where once there was drought, there is now river. Where once there was confusion, there is clarity. You stand not as a survivor of divine intervention, but as the embodiment of it. You have become the living evidence that heaven finishes what it starts. The peace you feel now is not fragile, it is fortified. It's the peace that comes from knowing you've done what you were called to do, and heaven has done the rest. It's the kind of peace that cannot be shaken by circumstance or stolen by fear. It's the deep exhale of a soul that finally understands what it means to trust completely. You used to wonder if God heard your prayers. Now you realize He was your prayers speaking through you, guiding every word, answering before you even finished asking. You once feared that you had failed. Now you see that failure was simply the path to formation. Every detour, every delay, every closed door was divine choreography leading you here. Heaven's takeover does not erase your story, it redeems it. It takes every broken fragment and arranges it into something luminous. You may not even recognize yourself, but heaven does. You are the completed version of what was once only a promise. You are no longer striving to become, you simply are. This final stage is not loud or dramatic. It moves like sunrise slow, sure, unstoppable. You will notice the shift not in what changes around you, but in what no longer shakes within you. The things that once triggered fear now stir faith. The situations that once brought anxiety now awaken discernment. That is how you know heaven has fully taken over. Peace becomes your default, not your effort. Chosen one. This peace is your inheritance, but it's also your responsibility. You are now a keeper of divine calm in a world still thrashing in chaos. Your stillness will become a sermon. Your gentleness, a weapon. Your patience, a prophecy. People will be drawn to your steadiness because it mirrors the stability of heaven itself. You do not need to rush into new assignments or grand plans. Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is remain still long enough to let the glory settle. Let heaven's light rest upon you. Let the echo of completion fill your heart. You are not being idle. You are being crowned. The crown you wear now cannot be seen with eyes, but felt with spirit. It is the weight of divine presence resting on you, not heavy with pressure, but rich with peace. The journey has purified you so completely that heaven's essence can dwell freely within. You've become what you were always meant to be, a walking temple, a vessel of still glory. You might feel a quiet touch, a strange tenderness, as if saying goodbye to a version of yourself. That is natural. Every ending feels like loss, even when it's sacred. But understand this, you are not losing, you are ascending. Heaven is lifting you into a new dimension of being, one where striving no longer exists, because unity with divine will is complete. In this stillness, gratitude rises like incense. You begin to thank God not only for what He gave, but for what He withheld. You thank Him for the closed doors that saved you, the delays that refined you, the heartbreaks that humbled you. Gratitude becomes worship, and worship becomes oneness. Chosen one. You are not who you were when this journey began. You are lighter now, yet filled with more substance than ever before. The noise of doubt has faded, replaced by the steady hum of assurance. Heaven is no longer above you or around you, it is within you. The line between divine and human blurs as you learn that surrender was never about losing yourself, but about finding Him in you. So now, you walk not as a servant afraid of failing, but as a child, certain of belonging. You carry the calm of heaven wherever you go in your words, your silence, your presence. The world may not understand it, but it will feel it. because wherever a chosen one stands, heaven stands too. The declaration has been made. It is done. Heaven has taken over completely, irrevocably, eternally. You need not strive another day to earn what has already been sealed in grace. Rest now in divine completion. Walk lightly through the days ahead. You are not chasing purpose anymore. You are living it. You are not waiting for favor. You are clothed in it. Heaven does not need to prove itself through you. It expresses itself as you. And that is the greatest miracle of all. Chosen one. If you've journeyed with these words to the very end, pause and breathe. You've just walked through a divine unfolding. Heaven has whispered through every line, not by coincidence, but by design. You were meant to hear this, meant to feel this, meant to remember who you truly are. Let the peace resting on you now linger. Let it remind you that you are never walking alone. Heaven walks with you, moves through you, and speaks within you. And if this message stirred your spirit, if it awakened something deep and sacred inside, let your response become part of its echo. Like this message, not for vanity, but to keep the light spreading. Share it so that someone wandering in their own storm may find the same calm you now feel. Subscribe if you wish to keep walking in this river of revelation, where heaven continues to speak to the hearts of its chosen. And in the comments, simply write, "Heaven, take over." Let those 3 words become a final act of surrender, a public seal of what has already happened within. You have done enough. Heaven has spoken. Now, let God take it from here.